Hey guys, what's going on? It's DaleyGaming here, and today I wanted to start a new series where I try to impart onto you some Men of War tips and tricks that I have learned over the years. I have 400 plus hours in the game and a lot of multiplayer under my belt, so I felt like, maybe this would actually be helpful to some people and maybe you'd be able to learn something from these. I mean, I'm no expert. There are a lot of better players than me. I've had many countless losses in the game, but I've also had some pretty good victories, pretty good clutches, which I think I've learned a little bit from my time playing, and maybe I can help you guys out with your game, if at all possible. If you're already a pro, don't bother because I'm not that good. But no, I do think I know a little bit that I could possibly help you guys out with some stuff. So the first thing I want to talk about is flame tanks. One of the most powerful tanks in the game, if not the most powerful tank in the game. You got two types. You've got the Sherman Crocodile, which is the American version, and you have the Churchill Crocodile, which is the British version. Now, of course, there is Rob's Mod, in which you have many flame tanks and different variations of them, but we're going to be focusing on vanilla gameplay right now, although a lot of these tips do pretty much just transfer straight over to Rob's Mod, so feel free to use them there. Now, flame tanks are so good because they only take one tiny touch of the flame to kill a man. The flame might even, like, barely scrape him or not even touch him, but go near him and the man will burst on fire and it's an immediate death sentence. The guys, even if they're in water, cannot put out the flame. They're dead. So if you catch an entire squad heading up towards you, just burst them into flames and they're gone. The entire squad is gone. And it has a huge arc of fire, meaning it can go very far and take out a lot of stuff. It is perfect for taking out entrenched men, such as MG positions, mortar positions, and AT gun positions. And it is very good at taking out barricades, that sort of a thing. My main use for them is a flanking weapon, especially the American Sherman Croc, because it is super agile. Oh, I got a notification on my thing. It is super agile. It can go very fast, and it is perfect for flanking, especially with the rotating turret. It can douse a lot of things in flames all at once. They are useful for taking out tanks. You can go for the engine and it will destroy the tank, but I don't recommend going after tanks with flame tanks. I think they should strictly be used to taking out entrenched positions and a whole lot of infantry if you're in a bind. If you're focusing on taking out a tank with a flame tank, I think you're doing something wrong. You should be buying something else like a tank destroyer or some sort of a bazooka, because this tank is not going to be, you're not using it to its full potential if you are trying to take out other tanks with it. And so essentially, the flame tank is an infantry killer, like I've said. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go after the flanks and then sweep around the back and just douse everything you can in flames. It doesn't matter if you're aiming at targets or whatever, you might not be able to see the men behind the barricades. Just continuously douse people in flames, douse all the buildings in flames. It will wreck everything, and it will basically make a no man's land for a little bit of time. If you're going after a point in assault zones, douse the entire point in flames, douse the outskirts in flames, then send in your squad of men. All enemy personnel will be out of there, and you're going to be able to capture it a lot easier. Just be careful of the afterburn that's going on. You don't want to send your men into that, of course, but it goes away pretty quick. But you are going to want to watch out for sneaky bazookas. That being said, this is probably the best way to take out flame tanks is with a bazooka, because the range of the bazooka is about the same range as the flame's arc, so it makes it so you can get your shot off and then your guy is probably going to die. Now what you're going to want to do with these guys is you're going to want to run around the flanks and try and hit it in the back, something like that, because bazooka men, they're very cheap, they're very mobile, so really you're going to want to fire your shot, run away, reload, fire your shot. It's okay if the bazooka man dies, buy another, go for it. If you just aren't able to get the shot off, maybe try a Puma. Pumas are very fast, light armored vehicles. or any other sort of light armored vehicle, a McChafe, trying to think of a Russian light vehicle, but I'm completely blanking. I guess just a light T-34 would work. Um, you know, try buying one of those, load up APCR, and don't stop. Beeline it for the flank of the tank and shoot the APCR into the engine. That will be able to take out the crocodile tank pretty easily. You're just going to want something cheap, something mobile that can get around the flame arc and easily take out the tank. Now, that being said, the problem with this is the British version of the crocodile, which is immense. It's a Churchill tank with a flame thrower on it, and it is very hard to pin that. It's basically a moving fortress. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to try and shoot out one of the tracks on either side. So by doing so, you're immobilizing it, and the flame isn't on a rotating turret like the Sherman is. It is in a set position on the front of the gun, and it's only able to fire maybe like a 30-degree radius, I'd say. And so that being said, you're going to basically completely make that tank null and void. It's not going to do a lot anymore, and in that case, you're going to be able to flank it a lot easier. So go for the tracks first with those. I think that's definitely the strategy you're going to want to utilize. Of course, many people forget that these tanks still have main guns. They still have AP shots, they still have HE shots. So if you are in the position where you have been tracked, try just utilizing that for a little while, and maybe you're going to be able to get a man down and, repair it. One glitch I have found in Men of War Assault Squad 2 with the crocodiles is you're still able to spurt out flames after your thing gets hull destroyed. It's only that you're going to be able to fire it directly forward. You're not going to be able to move the turret. And this lasts about 4 or 5 seconds, so maybe you're able to get a few last-minute kills from doing that. Now, I would definitely go for the Sherman crocodile over the Churchill crocodile. It's faster, it's got a rotating turret with the flame on it. It just sort of has all the advantages. But, I mean, the other one's still good. These are bunker-busting weapons. You're not going to want to use them against tanks. You're not going to want to just throw them into an open field. You're going to want to use them to the best of their ability. That being said, they're not invincible. If they do end up getting shot down, or you end up losing a bunch of them, maybe stop trying to use the flame tank strategy. Maybe switch over to a radio operator. Maybe switch over to heavy armor, that kind of a thing. Men of War is all about adapting to the situation. I can teach you these little tips and tricks like flame tanks. They're really good. Stay away from crappy tanks, that kind of a thing. I can teach you that stuff, but at the same time, you need to realize everything in Men of War can be used in a certain situation. Not everything is crap, except for maybe the motorcycles. Everything has a purpose, and you just have to adapt to what the enemy is doing. That's sort of the key in this. If the enemy sends forward a tank, retaliate with a better tank or a bazooka or something like that. I try and wait to buy a tank unless it's absolutely necessary until after my enemy has purchased a tank, and then I can outdo him. I can buy the better tank. And I always know, okay, he bought a Panzer IV-H. That's pretty hard for me to attack unless I have like a 76 Sherman. I can't afford a 76 Sherman. I buy a bazooka instead, and I try and get up close. It's all about give and take with this game, and you never want to be the first person to give first. You want to let the enemy make the move, and then you respond with something else. That's sort of the logic I go forth with in Men of War Assault Squad 2. I think it's pretty sound logic, and I think you should definitely be trying that as well. That being said, Flame Tank is very, very good. It's an excellent starting off point. It is one of those tanks where you can buy first because it is mainly against infantry, not against other tanks. Just be wary of them buying bigger tanks. Have a backup plan. Have bazooka men nearby to take out other tanks, or try and use your agility to your advantage and try and flank around those tanks and use the flame shot. But it's basically, they're not long-living tanks. You're going to want to use them, do as much havoc as you can as possible, and then get out of there. Don't stall around for a while. Go in and leave. Then, when you think it's safe again, go in again. If you lose the tank, that's okay. Just make sure you're making as much damage as possible, and you should be fine. So that's sort of the first tip I had for you guys. if you guys want to see more of these, let me know, and I'd be happy to share. And I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.